Guys, I'm Deepthi Desikan, and in this video we're going to be doing some lipstick swatches, some new popular lipsticks, some very viral lipsticks and all of that. So some were sent to me, some I purchased myself. So let's get started. So the first lipsticks we're going to be swatching is the Kiro Slick Stick Luxe Matte lipsticks. So these were sent to me, and this is what the lipstick bullets look like. So they have changed up the packaging compared to the usual black. It's all red now. So this is what the individual component looks like. So you open it like that and you twist it up this way and you get your lipstick shade. This is said to go on like a velvet cream and settle to a comfortable matte finish, and I feel like it's exactly that. It's not a transfer proof formulation. It feels like a creamy matte lipstick. It's not too shiny but not too like matte, you know, like drying matte or like matte, flat matte finish. It feels like a comfortable matte finish on the lips. To me, whenever I think of this lipstick, I feel like it reminds me of this formulation from MAC, where, you know, it goes on a little bit creamy, settles to a very comfortable matte finish, but not like a powdery matte finish. Now, this is something that you can try out if you're sick and tired of very drying matte lipsticks. If your lips have been through a lot and you just want something really nice and comfortable on your lips, something that feels really nice and hydrating but has a matte finish, a very good color payoff, very good color selection, and just feels comfortable throughout the day and has a very good wear time. Now, I wore these lipsticks the other day to dinner and they did stay on pretty well. And I mean, this is just like any other lipstick. It does transfer quite a bit, but it doesn't fade away that easily from your lips. Kiro has that magic, you know, they can do that to their bullet lipsticks as well. Their previous bullet lipsticks are like that. They have a comfortable creamy matte finish, a little bit more pigmented than this, but they stay on your lips pretty much the entire day. These are not as long lasting as that, but again, doesn't fade away just very easily. It's very comfortable, non-drying, doesn't exaggerate any lines, don't emphasize any lines, don't sit on the flakiness differently, don't make your lips all the more dry and flaky. So they're really nice and comfortable, and I really like it. Now, they have very light shades that are for people of light and light medium skin tones, but for medium skin tones they do have beautiful shades, medium tan and deeper skin tones. My favorite shades from this range has to be 04, which is called Velvet Nude, shade number 06 Mauve Macaroon, and 07 Rustic Cocoa, something that I feel like I can reach out for almost on a daily basis. So really nice, comfortable lip formulation that you can try out. And this again has a lot of really good ingredients in it, like peptides plus vegan squalene and hyaluronic filling spears. They have ingredients that is not more nourishing for smoothness, for hydration and plumping. So really nice product if you want to try it out. And yeah, let me know what you think about these products. I will make sure to link it in the description box below. First shade from Kiro I'm going to be swatching is in the shade 01 Almond Butter. This is a very light peachy nude shade that would work for people of light and light medium skin tones. Next shade we have is called 02 Rosewood Nude. Again, a little bit more pink than the previous shade. Again, a very light nude shade and would work for people up to light medium skin tones. The next shade we have is called Nutty Nougat, which is a little bit of an orange toned shade, which does look really nice on my skin tone as well, and it does look a little bit more refreshing, I feel like. So this is a beautiful shade. The next shade we have is called 04 Velvet Nude, which is a beautiful nude shade for my skin tone. It has a little bit of mauve brown undertones to it, and it's something I can wear without makeup as well, and it doesn't wash me out. Just look at it, it's a beautiful shade. Next shade we have is called 05 Pink Horizon, which is a beautiful warm pink shade. It's a very wearable shade. The next shade we have is the shade number 06, which is called Mauve Macaroon, and this looks a little bit deeper on me, but if you are of a deeper skin tone than I am, it would look like a beautiful mauve nude shade. I absolutely love these kind of shades, you guys know it. It's so wearable. The next shade we have is 07 Rustic Cocoa. Is a beautiful deep red shade with a lot of like that rustic earthy undertone to it. It has a little bit of brown. It has a little bit of like an earthy undertone to it. It is really, really nice and a very pigmented and a very wearable, beautiful shade. The last shade from this range is called Firecracker Red 08. Now, even though this name suggests that it's a red shade, I can see an undertone shift to this. This has a little bit more of like that earthy terracotta undertone as well, and it's a really beautiful shade. Again, a little bit of a different sort of a red shade. Next up, swatching the Etude House Fixing Tints. these are really popular tints, and they are sort of on the matte side. Like when they settle down on your lips, they have a matte finish, but they are really nice and pigmented. They're not like your Benetint where, you know, it has a very light wash of color. These are pigmented lip tints. They do have a sort of runny formulation, so it's better to line your lips and then apply this, because it does kind of bleed. Like while you're applying, it looks like it's set beautifully, but after a while it does sort of like bleed on the sides. But you can see the pigmentation it has. It is able to mask up, at least the shades I picked up are able to mask up the pigmentation of my lips. And I do really like it. It is sort of comfortable for me. I don't find it to be very drying, but if you have very, very dry lips and through the course of the day, you might find it to be a little bit drying on your lips. So just keep that in mind, but they feel very lightweight, okay? And I do have sort of dry lips, but I don't find them to be all the more drying. They have a very good wear time. And when they do fade away, they do leave a very subtle tint on your lips. And it's nice. I really like it, okay? At least the shades I picked up, like the shades that have a little bit of a deeper undertone to it, of course stain your lips, but I picked up a shade called Soft Walnut, which doesn't stain my lips as much because it has more of a brown undertone to it. But I really like it, and they're definitely worth the hype. First shade we have is called Soft Walnut, and I absolutely love the shade Soft Walnut. It's a beautiful, warm, pinkish, brownish kind of a shade. The next shade we have is called Cranberry Plum, which is also a very popular shade. It's again a beautiful, warm pink shade, and I would have expected it to be a little bit more pigmented. I know it's a tint, but it sort of does kind of bleed a little bit. The formulation of this one is a little bit on the thinner side, I feel like. The last shade we have is called Rose Blending. This is a beautiful, again, sort of like a pinky nude shade for my skin tone. Very beautiful, doesn't wash me out. I absolutely love it. These are the shades you should be picking up if you're around my skin tone. I'm not sure how many other shades they have, how many more are flattering, but I really like these shades. So from Etude House, I picked up their Dear Darling Oil Tint in the shade Plum Berry. Let me just swatch this and see. Oh my god, I absolutely love this particular shade. I love the finish of this. It does feel a little bit thicker on my lips, but I love it. It looks so nice, and I like the scent of this as well. So this is the shade Plum Berry. Next up from MAC, we have the shade called Twig Twist, which is a little bit more on the purple, like lilac undertone side compared to the previous shade called Twig. And so I will give you guys a hand swatch of it side by side, but this is how it looks like on my lips. I can wear this with a full face of makeup on, but not without that. This is the shade Twig. As you guys can see, it has a little bit more of a pink undertone to it, and this is Twig Twist, which has a little bit more of a purple undertone to it. So I will also swatch the shade Twig on my lips just to show you guys how it looks like. So this is what Twig looks like. This seems so much more wearable. Initially I used to never like this shade on my skin tone, but because of the pink undertone, it's so much more wearable for my skin tone. Now next up from Sugar, I have this one called their Muse Maskproof Lip Cream, and this one is in the shade Vandyke Brown. And Sugar is a brand that I used to love for their lip products, and then I think it's been over 3 years. I haven't tried out any new launches from Sugar. Nothing that intrigued me, nothing that I wanted to try out, except this one particular shade that I thought would be right up my alley, and I feel like it is. It is a very nice, cool toned nude shade, and also I don't really like the way this one smells. It smells so strong of some kind of like cough syrup. So yeah, it is a little bit like, it takes me back a little bit, and it does linger for a while, but it is a transfer proof lip formulation. Like it goes on moussey and shiny, and then it settles down to a matte finish. So you guys can see it doesn't transfer, and yeah, it's a beautiful shade, and it doesn't feel as drying, but also not the most comfortable on the lips. It does feel a little bit drying, so if you have very dry lips, this can dry your lips out all the more. And also it does kind of fade away from the inner corners, and if you're going to eat something, if you're wearing this for a really long time and talking and moving your lips a lot, it does fade away from the inner corners, and it does fade away eventually if you're eating anything as well. Next up from Pilgrim, we have the shade called Bossy Brown. I've seen so many swatches online. I've seen this particular shade doing rounds, and that's the reason I wanted to pick it up, because it seemed right up my alley. Like I mentioned, I'm all in for these grungy, cool toned nude shades, brown nude shades, and that's what I've been liking. I know I should like sort of try out a lot of different shades, but this is what I prefer wearing on a day-to-day basis as well, because I feel like it flatters my skin tone really well. And I'm not wrong with this shade as well. It's a very, very beautiful shade for my skin tone. It has a little bit of like that dusty mauve undertones to it. It also has a brown undertone to it, so it's so wearable and so beautiful for people of medium tan and deeper skin tones. So definitely, even if you have very pigmented lips, you can try this out. It goes on runny, but it's very pigmented and it masks up the pigmentation of my lips. It's not like feathering, it's not bleeding, and it feels really nice and lightweight on the lips. So I really like this particular shade I tried out. So this is Pilgrim Matte Me Up in the shade Bossy Brown. The next one we have from M.A.C is their non-transfer lipstick in the shade Royalty. Now this took me a while to get my hands on because apparently this is a very popular shade. To me, this is a very generic brown shade that I already own in my collection. Maybe even from M.A.C itself, they do have quite a lot of shades that look like this. So I'm not the biggest fan of how this looks on me, and I wouldn't recommend this to you guys. But of course, if you want to try it out, you can. It's a beautiful brown shade, but it's just, I feel like it's just too many of these at this point in the market, and especially from their own collection, I feel like. And also I can't see a lot of undertone shift to it. I want to say it leans a little bit more on the cooler side, or maybe like neutral brown, leaning towards cool, not so much of a warm brown shade. So yeah, it depends on your preference, but I feel like it is a little bit sticky and transfer proof, of course. Swatching some more M.A.C lipsticks, which is not new to my collection. I have already swatched this, I think, in a dedicated M.A.C lipsticks video, but I did receive quite a few requests to swatch them again. I think a lot of you haven't watched those videos, so swatching some of their popular shades. This is called Sinful Salsa, which is a beautiful deep purple shade, and you can't see a lot of pink undertones to it. It is very grungy, but it depends on your preference. This would look really nice on people of deeper skin tones as well. I wouldn't suggest this without at least a little bit of color correction and concealer on, because it can wash you out. Next up we have the shade called Bollywood Surprise. This is more of a wearable brown shade, and it has a little bit of red and deeper brown undertones to it, and this smells so good. Okay, it smells like coffee. I absolutely love this shade, and I feel like this is something I can reach out for so much more than the other shade called Royalty. And then another very popular shade called Zesty Zumba. This looks so much darker on my skin tone, but if you are of a deeper skin tone and you have very pigmented lips, this is such a beautiful nude shade. Definitely try this shade out. And then we have another very beautiful shade called Grapeful Ghoomar. It's a beautiful deep pink shade with a little bit of red undertones. It's a very nice shade to own. Now, quickly swatching these M.A.C lip gloss, which is said to be a dupe for the Maybelline Vinyl Ink liquid lipsticks. Now, I feel like first of all, on the whole, we should be cancelling these vinyl ink trends, because I feel like they're so harsh on the lips. I got the shade Unrivaled, and I have to wait for literally 20 minutes for it to dry down on my lips. And I'm not sure it's worth the effort, because I have a lot of other lipsticks, liquid lipsticks I really like that are long wearing, and I don't want to put my lips through this. I don't want to have that effort of, apply one layer, apply another layer, don't dunk back in, just to that one even layer, don't purse your lips together, don't talk. So first it was, initially I was advised like, don't talk for 10 minutes. And then it's like, no, don't talk for 20 minutes. Maybelline is a brand that appreciates silence, I guess. So I'm not sure. And so this was launched and it was compared to that. Now I've given you guys a proper comparison of this in a shorts video. I will try to link it, or you can find it right here on my channel. These are again very similar to those, in the sense that you again have to give it that time for it to dry down, and then it has that sort of glossy finish, but not as glossy as the Maybelline one, but dries down, and then it's said to be long wearing. Personally, if you ask me, I would just say skip on these, because I feel like they're again a lot of work. You don't have to take a lot of product. You have to take the slightest amount of it, rub off all of that excess, and then apply one layer. And this also again takes a lot of time to dry down on your lips, and I don't feel like it ever completely dries down on my lips. They do feel a little bit heavy, and I just feel like it's not worth the effort for me. There are beautiful shades in this compared to the Maybelline one, like for people of deeper skin tones, that is something you have to give the brand, but it's just not worth it. And I feel like they also have a very strong like mosquito repellent sort of a smell, and I can get the aftertaste of it. So I'm not sure what really is going into these products to make it that way, you know, glossy, long wearing, it's too much to ask. Pair up your own lip combinations, wear a nice transfer proof lipstick, and then maybe top it off with a gloss. Why do you want a long wearing glossy looking lipstick? I'm not sure. I've been waiting for this one to dry down for the longest time. You can see from that glossy finish, it's come down to a subtle glossy finish, but still it does feel a little bit sticky, not as sticky as the Maybelline one. And I think it's time to give that transfer test. Yeah, there's still ever so light transfer, and this also you have to let it rest on your lips for at least 10 to 15 minutes for it to completely dry down, after which it does get a little bit transfer proof, but never really fully transfer proof for me. I've tried it, and what I have to do is blot off all of that excess, take off all of that excess product, and now it feels a lot more like matte. But you can see the shine has completely died down. So what is the point of getting this even? And then it gets a little bit transfer proof. You can see it doesn't transfer at all. So it's a lot of work, and where is the shine? It just feels heavy, waxy on my lips. Just not worth the time and effort for me. If you wanted an affordable alternative to the Maybelline one, you could probably try this, or just stick to the Maybelline one, and you can get it on good discount if you like those vinylings. But I'm just not in for both of this. The first shade that we have is called Noor, which is a beautiful nude shade for my skin tone, and it does look really flattering on me because I have a full face of makeup on. But without a full face of makeup on, I wouldn't probably wear this, okay? The next shade we have is called Begum, which is a beautiful deep purplish kind of a shade. And one thing I've noticed is that it takes a while for this to dry down. Like, even if I apply the lightest layer, but not as long as the Maybelline Vinyl Ink, but the shine on these lipsticks tone down so much, and they just start to look like any other matte lipsticks. And so yeah, just keep that in mind. Next up we have the shade called Gulabo. Yummy shade, a deeper shade that would look really nice on deeper skin tones as well. Next up we have the shade called 04 Heer. Such a lilac shade, which is definitely not for my skin tone. I'm not sure who this actually even looks good on, because it has so much of a white base to it. Maybe for people of very pale skin tones. The last shade we have is called 05 Mastani. Again, I feel like it's such a bright orange shade and easily could have been avoided. The undertone of this could have been better, but yeah, this is the shade. The last product that I have is again a very controversial product. This one is the Maybelline Superstay Teddy Tint. I got this in the shade Keep It Cozy. I'm not sure again with this product because there were so many reviews. So from what I have seen, you need to apply a very thin layer and let it rest, and I think it gets transfer proof. I'm going to let it rest and I'm going to be back. So I've let this be on my lips for at least 5 minutes now, and I mean, it doesn't feel exactly lightweight, but it's not feeling extremely heavy on my lips, and it does transfer just from the inner corner where it hasn't settled down completely. So it again does take a little bit of a time for it to rest on your lips. Now, I saw that a lot of people found this to be extremely sticky, extremely cakey on your lips, extremely thick. So that the key with this product, from what I've seen, is you need to apply a very thin layer. So when you apply that very thin layer, it doesn't get very, very sticky, and it feels a lot more comfortable, and you have the freedom to move your lips. But it is again not something that is enough to mask the pigmentation of your lips. So depending on the shade again, and maybe even depending on your lip pigmentation, it would look a certain way. So this is how it looks like on my lips, which looks like, you know, after I'm done with all the lip swatches, how my lips would look like from a natural stain. Now I am going to like layer it just to see if it can mask the pigmentation of my lips and how it looks. So when I layered it on, this is how it looks. Still doesn't feel very sticky or heavy because I let that first layer settle down, but again, not the most comfortable on my lips. So again, this layer will take a while to settle in. So just get these fixing tints from Etude House. They're just so much more comfortable, so much more nicer on your lips. Why are we putting ourselves through all of this, like so much time and effort? I mean, if you have the time and effort, maybe yes, but if you are someone who's really busy, hectic life, hectic work schedule, it's just a lot of unnecessary waiting and unnecessary time, in my opinion. So it's a skippable product again. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Do let me know what you think about these products, and let me know what other videos you would like to watch in the comments down below. And while you're at it, give this video a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.